Hello and welcome to another episode of Practical IT. In this episode, we're taking a look at the newly released Ubuntu 19.10. Let's get started. Alright, I've configured VirtualBox, so we'll go ahead and start the installation. Alright, our installer has started and it looks very similar to what we've seen in previous installers. We're going to go ahead and install Ubuntu. US English is fine. We're going to do a normal installation, download updates while installing, and install third-party software. Pretty standard stuff here. Installation type, erase and install Ubuntu. We are actually going to play with the experimental ZFS or ZFS if you're not American. Delete all your files. Experimental may cause data loss. Do not use on production systems. Let's try it out. Continue. Correct time zone. All right, I'm going to let this go through the installer and do its thing, and I will be back with you when it's about 95 approximately percent done with the install, and we will finish things up. We've finished the first phase of installation. It copied the files. Now it's going to start installing the system, and we'll be back shortly. All right, it's going through the hardware configuration portion, and we should be just about finished up with this. Another couple of minutes, and hopefully we'll be prompted to reboot, and we can start looking through things. All right, we've reached the end of the install. Let's go ahead and restart our new VM. All right, let's go ahead and log in for the first time. A little bit different color scheme on the buttons. Okay, we got our startup wizard or initial install wizard here. I'm going to skip, and this is just a VM, so I don't care if we send it. Location services. Let's see what this little public service announcement type thing gives us here, if it decides to load up. And it gives us a bunch of different featured sort of apps, which isn't a bad thing, but I'm not going to do anything with that right at the moment. So first thing we want to do after the fresh install is Control-Alt-T for a new terminal. Run the updates and make sure we're in the clear on that. And of course, we've got a lock. Try that again. So right out of the gate, we are presented with a lock, preventing us from doing updates from the command line. If you delete the lock file, force delete the lock file, then we can go ahead and do that. And so I'm going to install build essential, and then interesting, set to manually installed. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to insert the guest edition CD, and hopefully that will go ahead and launch, run, and hopefully since we've got build essential ready to go, this will push through the installer without any issues or complaints, and we can continue making the magic happen. All right, it is building the modules. This is a good sign. If this is something that's changed since the 1804 release, I can say I'm definitely looking forward to the 2004 long-term support release. So it wanted to restart. We're going to eject the device, make sure that's ejected, and let's restart the system, and we'll be right back. And like magic, we are back after our reboot. We are loaded up full screen. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to run through the 10 things to do after installing Ubuntu 19.10 according to the omgubuntu.co.uk article. So it's been widely reported what's new. Biggest thing is the ZFS support and GNOME 3.34 with the Linux 5.3 kernel. We've already checked for updates. The number 3 thing they suggest is unlock extra customization. So we actually need to install the Gnome Tweaks tool. So we'll go to Ubuntu software and we'll search Gnome Tweaks, and we'll install that, and we'll give that a minute. And we'll launch it. All right, so Gnome Tweaks, we can change the GTK and icon theme, move Windows buttons to the left, change desktop font and size, tile windows when dragged to edge of screen. So we can do Windows title bars, double click to maximize. And if you want a more Mac-like experience, of course, you can move the buttons to the left. I won't do that right now, but I may do that in the future. Windows, edge tiling. So that's good. Workspaces. All right. I'm happy with that at this point and ready to move on to the next item in the list. Ubuntu dock tweaks. The trick here is from the terminal. G settings. Let's make this a little bit. G settings, set org.gnome.shell.extensions dash to dock, click dash action, minimize. Okay. We can also add a trash can to the dock. G settings, set org.gnome Show trash true, and then remove the trash from the desktop. Extensions. Show trash false. Okay, so let's see what we've got now. We've got rid of the trash on the desktop, added it to the dock. I like that. The number 5 option on the article is some laptop tweaks, and we're running this on a desktop in a virtual machine, so we're going to skip that. Swap the image viewer, we'll skip that. Choose an avatar, and we'll go down to number 8, enable FlatPak. Ubuntu 9.10 has a ton of great open source software in its archives, thanks to Snap. I recommend that you enable FlatPak and unlock access to the FlatPak app store. Alright, so there's another link to another article, how to enable FlatPak. Alright, so we'll jump back to our terminal. And we're going to do sudo add apt repository ppa Alex Larson FlatPak, and that's potentially going to complain. Let's see what happens. Sudo apt update and so that's not ready for us yet. That's alright, we can revisit that in a future video. Number 9 in their article is learn keyboard shortcuts. All this focuses on the super key. I'm using a Mac keyboard, so some of this stuff is not working correctly for me at the moment. But anyways, we'll move on to the last item, or the number 10 item. Stock up on extra software. And they suggest a few: GIMP, Kdenlive, Visual Studio Code, Blender, Geary for email, Chromium web browser, and then non-free software such as Google Chrome, Spotify, Skype, Steam, Discord, and Slack. Their bonus tip is for full HD displays. Okay, so if you're using a Retina display on a Mac or different things, you may want to enable fractional scaling and find a position between 125% and 150%. So other than FlatPak seemingly not being quite ready for action, let's check something out directly from our new install and see if we can find out anything more about the FlatPak issue. Okay, so apparently we didn't have to do the PPA like the linked article suggested. We should just be able to do sudo apt install FlatPak. Go figure. And so we've got FlatPak installed. Go into downloads. See if, okay, Git is not installed. Get that installed. All right, so we are going to go ahead and install Linus via Git. So we're going to actually change to user local, and we're going to clone the project. Get that downloading. And audit the system. And see where we end up. Now, the big difference between this and when I did the preview earlier in the summer is that we are actually running on ZFS. And I know my European friends will be cringing at me saying that. So ZFS, just to humor you all. The only other thing I've done different is I added FlatPak before running Lynis and the desktop tweaks, Gnome Tweaks tool. Other than that, I didn't do anything special for the partitioning of the virtual hard drive. I haven't run through any sort of hardening for SSH or anything like that. And with all that in mind, I think we went up 1 point. I believe we were at a 63 when I did this earlier in the summer. I'm sure many of these are going to be the same types of things we've seen before. And deleted files in use, add legal banner, install package app show versions for patch management purposes. Cups configuration can be more strict. And of course, they complain about the partitioning, password ages, and warnings, IP tables modules loaded but no rules active. Owner of some users' home directories are not correctly set. That's a new one that I've not seen before. Tell us something about that. Oops, looks like this control is not listed yet in the database. Well then, warning section, and they have no information on it. All right, so yeah, that brings us to just poking around a little bit. So we did go into this just a little bit earlier. One nice thing is you can change background and lock screen at the same time. You can have them set to match. We'll do that one as the background, and we'll find something else. We'll do this as the lock screen, which kind of cool there, if it doesn't completely flip out on me. So that's nice. Bring this back up. Dock icon size, we can shrink that down a little bit. Position on screen, left, right, bottom. Yeah, I'm not real thrilled about either of those options, but I'll go with this. Notifications, you can turn applications on, notifications on and off, which is handy. Region and language, universal access. You can enable the menu, so it's up here on top. Could be handy in some situations. Online accounts, which we've seen this all before, along with being able to add email and enterprise login via Kerberos. Privacy, applications, additional drivers, solitaire. Definitely don't need notifications on that. Amazon does not need notifications. You can go through the list of everything installed. I do wish there was sort of a global disable for the notifications, but maybe in a future version. Screen and media sharing, sound settings, power, So we'll blink the screen after 15 minutes. Network, gigabit, and we've got our network manager settings, which hasn't really changed too much. Proxy devices is pretty much the same. Keyboard shortcuts, printers. See if it continues on its track record of adding printers. And it appears to have added just fine. We'll see here in a moment. They did change the little spinner, which is a nice touch. Okay, printer added. That's good. Removable media. Ask what to do is a good response. Thunderbolt and color. So you can add profile. Calibrate button is disabled. That's all right. And of course, details. Lets you check for updates. Gives you some processor and graphics information. Date and time settings. Users. And you can play with default applications here. So far, I'm pretty impressed with some of the little tweaks that have been made in this 6-month version. Nothing drastic, nothing really out of the ordinary for an Ubuntu release. It is showing my NAS devices. If you hadn't guessed by the naming conventions, Lord Nikon and Serial Killer. I've also got Acid Burn. That doesn't seem to be showing up right now. I am a fan of the movie Hackers from back in the day. And we're showing our ZFS or ZFS pool items in the file browser. So that's interesting. Unable to access location. I'm guessing that's going to be the same for all these. Having not played with ZFS too much, yeah, I'm going to have to play with that a little bit, and maybe we'll do a video in the future just messing with that, trying to break it under Ubuntu 19.10. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with this. It seems to be snappy. This is running in a virtual machine. 4 gigs of RAM, 2 processor cores on a 3rd generation i7, but it seems to be decently responsive. And yeah, if you want plain Jane and, not a lot of extra customizations, not a bad way to go. I still sort of lean for a desktop Linux towards Pop OS right now, but this is not bad. This is definitely worth spending some time testing out and, just see what you think of it. The great thing about Linux is that it's free and you can always bounce around to another version. And there are lots of options for backing up your files and making it very easy to move from distribution to distribution with minimal fuss. On that note, I'm going to wrap this up. This is already getting kind of long. My final thoughts are that this is definitely worthy of playing with. Set up a virtual machine and, spend 30 minutes playing with it. Spend an hour playing with it. See if it's something that you want to consider for a physical machine, or if it's just something you want to dabble with just to see what's new. On that note, this is Jeremy signing off for Practical IT. If you like the video, please consider subscribing, clicking the bell icon for notifications, and leaving comments down below. Thank you once again for watching. Have a great day.